All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. I'm not sure I can make two today, but I'm actually really excited to make this one. So we have to start with CDIO, and man, I got lucky to make money on that one actually because of the Discord. He's actually still talking now, but like for real, I had no eyes on it. Doc called it out at around $1.60, I think, and man, once it crushed 180, it was game over. So I'm really excited to talk about this one. All right. Mavis is one I have not talked about in a while. We'll clearly see why, but it's been a nice little interesting turnaround, and Mavis definitely, I have some eyes on it. There's only a couple more lines to get over, and man, there's a lot of red to turn into some beautiful green, right? So Mavis is back on the radar. I actually kind of regret not getting it a little earlier, if you actually want to know the truth. And then, you know, I was not planning on covering Soundhound again. I obviously covered it, I think over the weekend. I don't remember when, but today was an interesting day on Soundhound. It actually did what I was wanting it to do, but it only did it intraday and it couldn't do it at the close. So that's kind of the big thing there. But before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. You know, I did draw this one during the day because, like I said, we were talking about this one on the Discord live, but there are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we will use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do helps me so much with these YouTube algorithms, especially if you can share the video because it really does the best. All right, so let's get into it. And again, I have to start by going on the Discord. All right, for real, like I cannot CDIO. Okay. This came, I'll be really honest with you. First off, let's give Mr. Onion some credit, all right? He called this one out a minute ago, all right? But specifically for me today, 9 a.m. is Pacific time, right? So when I woke up, first thing I see, there's a good amount of comments. I'm able to at least see some eyes. That 180 line, I talk about it a little bit. I mean, like literally through the entire trading day, we've literally been talking about, you know, the movements, right? And that's one of my favorite things about this thing. It's trading is generally a very like lonely thing, right? In a lot of ways, you're in front of a screen, you're kind of doing your own thing, but gotta love the community side of it, right? And also, I mean, the MEM one as well, right? Making easy money. We were talking, nice, I gotta throw an opinion on that. I will shortly. Space is another one I've been talking about. Amazon, Verizon. I'm talking too long about other tickers. I apologize. Let's get into CDIO right here, okay? The first thing you have to talk about is the 200 moving average, all right? You know my rules, and one of the biggest ones is break all 5 and fly. Okay, today was a single day. You cannot get too wildly excited about a single day, all right? Because let's just zoom out really quickly. We've actually been here. All right, we've broken it, we've gotten over the next day, and then lo and behold, we get back under, right? And really from the I guess we should really call it from right here, from October of last year, we've only touched the purple line, roughly speaking, 5 times, right? About 3 right there, about another 3 right there. That's 6, right? So this 200 moving average line is no joke. And again, we've been over it and failed, right? I like the fact that we tried here. And now, again, you can see we tried and obviously have gotten over it, right? So one of the big things I do like is when someone tries, when I say someone, I mean a ticker, right? But if you're going to hit it once, hit it again, right? Especially if you're on your way up. You know, that gets me really angry when we're talking about it on the way down. Easiest one, because I just covered this one, is AVTX. I don't like it when we hit the line down, hit the line down, hit the line down. That is not good. However, if you can hit the lineup, hey, hopefully you'll break it, right? Like, that's a good thing. So I like how much action this 200 moving average line had, and really only a 2-week window. Now, I would have actually loved it if these candles closed above it. All we really had were little wick touches, right? So this is actually the first and only real candle over it since these two right here, right? So, you know, I mean, again, I can't stress why this one's the last one for a reason. Now, don't get me wrong. You can put any moving average, like you could have moving average 500, right? Like whatever. But this one is the, like, it's the baseline last one. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't wake up one day and say 200 moving average, right? So there's a reason why this one is the Bowser of our Super Mario video game here, right? And don't underestimate the power of the line. It's great that we got over it. It's even better that we actually crushed the line, right? But I mean, I can see it right now. You know, I don't care too much about after hours. We're not going up. We're going down a little bit, right? Again, I don't care too much about after hours, especially if you've gone up 100-something% and you're only going down a little bit. Like, you know, that's a very solid good thing, right? So let me show you where this 225 line came from. Basically, you know, it looks like it's the top of this, but I actually took it from this November 30th candle. You can see the close here was 221, and I actually did do it because of this. It actually just so happened to line up right here. That right there was the hard gap down. That was kind of the last green candle before it said, no, I can't do it. And I think that's why that one caught my eye when I first made the line, all right? From there going up, the next line up I have is 330, basically the bottom of this guy. And then, yeah, this next one up here is the middle of this guy. I do not want to talk about $10 just yet, all right? Clearly, I see it right here. My assumptions are this was a DeSpac that went horribly, 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 horribly wrong for someone, going from $10 all the way down to 20 cents. I can't even do the math that fast in my head, right? Like, that's horrible, right? But end of the day, red is green when the tide turns, right? And, you know, I obviously wish I got in a little earlier. I can't pretend that, right? Once it broke the 50 right here, beautiful little gap to the 100 right here, beautiful little gap to the 200 right here, couldn't break it, able to use the 8 like a champion, and now we're back over it, right? So, yeah, this 225, look, ooh, excuse me, sorry about that. What am I expecting for tomorrow? Look, we're either going to get over 225, and it actually might be a real fast day up to 3-something. Maybe this 275, 280, give or take, maybe something like that will be a little bit of a difficulty, maybe. But I mean, just look at this channel, right? Red, whole mess of nothing, whole mess of nothing. You can say that that's a green, but really just red, green. That's the goal, right? If we can break that 225, it should be a rather fast ride. $1 extra on a stock that only has $2. Oh man, that's easy 33%, right? So, gotta love the MACD, gotta love the RSI. End of the day, look, this is a potential pump and dump volume, all right? It's done it before when it went really big and up. It's actually been able to hold a 2-day one, right? And now we're looking here. The one interesting thing to say, so across all these days, more people have been buying and holding than selling. Because look, all the people that bought on this day, most of them sold on this day. And I'm obviously kind of just exaggerating, right? But this amount of buying is essentially canceled out by this amount of selling. We still have this monster, that monster, and that monster, right? Like a couple of these little green ones and a little red one. Like, there is essentially 130 plus another 150, so let's call that 3, and then another 150. There's basically 450 million shares that haven't been sold yet. Like I said, this one cancels out that one, and then these 3 monsters. Maybe we don't even need to include today, because hey, let's just say, what if there's oh, now we're starting to rise after hours too. Ooh, I'm starting to see that little bar go up. And hey, you know what the beautiful thing is? I've already made my plans for this stock, right? So I'm sitting here making a video, not having to pause, not having to react as it goes down, getting excited as it goes up. Have a plan, man. Like it does you so well, and you can do it for these silly rocket ones too, all right? So gotta love it. Hell yeah, let's keep going up. You can tell I'm still holding some shares, right? But I took a little profit, put it in the back pocket, right? It's never a bad thing. So CDIO, again, we're looking for that to break up. Otherwise, what's the way down? Look, I think there's two places this can come down. I wanted to see where this was. Okay, I think 189 is probably a very realistic place this thing can drop to. And hey, again, going back to what we were talking about, right? That 180 line, I was worried about the battle up, is essentially that same 180, 190 line. Nope, not that one, sorry. This one. That same 180, 190 line that I'm hoping is going to become a support, right? Like what was a resistance at one point becomes a support at another point, right? So keep that in mind. Again, we are still climbing as I'm speaking. We're touching the 240s. I think there's a decent reason to believe we might see that 275 that I mentioned probably before after hours ends if this thing wants to keep sneaking up, all right? But again, I think 180 on the way down. I think 160 if 180 is lost. If 160 is lost, that's where things can get scary. That's where we might drop into the 1-teens. I don't know if this is that 135 will be enough, but look, we do not want this to go any lower than 160. All right, I think 180, 185, 190, that will still be healthy. End of the day, we've seen it on a number of stocks, right? I'm going to draw a little bit, but you get over the two, I don't want to go that big because that's going to make some silly assumptions. Even just this, you go over the 200, you come back to the 200, and then you rip from the bounce, right? It's essentially, sorry, let me zoom into this. Give me a second. Oops. It's the opposite of this. You go over it, you come down to it, but then you rip up. Otherwise, you come to it, and then you lose it, right? But I think there are some decent reasons to believe this is going to keep going. I actually really like the fact that this 150 mil, literally look at the volume in the box of that. This 148 million day, this 147 million day are still in people's trading accounts. No one has sold off that many shares over the last couple. Yeah, maybe all of these got sold this day, but there are plenty of shares being held in the pocket. We're pushing here. This is a beautiful thing to see. I love it, all right? What I also like is this weekly chart. Look at this weekly chart, all right? First thing. This is still a relatively healthy number. You know I don't mind it going to the 80s, right? We're still in the low 70s. There's a decent shot next week can do well, or we get another day or two and then the weekly kind of goes up, right? But yeah, 73 is still a healthy number. We've been this high, but you gotta look at the volume. It's 12K. Okay, so you really can't tell yourself you've been this high in the RSI. Right now, this is our highest RSI to date. It's 78. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying. I think that there's room for the weekly to go from 73 to, let's call it 80. You know, hey, maybe we'll get more because, right, what am I looking at? Red, green, red. We're basically on the line. If we can get over 225 and rip, oh, it'll be a great thing, all right? Looks like that 240 after hours is coming back down, but again, you know I don't care about after hours. I couldn't pretend to not get excited as it was going up. I'm only human as well, right? But regular hours are what matter. As long as we can avoid that $1.80 number, there's a lot of reason to go believe that this thing's going to keep going up. If this thing comes down to $1.80, we can hit that bounce and go back up as well, right? Don't lose $1.60. That's the main thing to say. You do not want to lose the 200 because we've seen what happens when you do. And look, we got over it. We come down. We tried it again. And then we do not go under the 200. All right, CDIO one more time. Beautiful live discussion of that on the Discord. Let's get into MVIS. All right, it has been quite a while since I talked about MVIS. All right. I was a I mean, I loved making the videos during that run up there. It was fun. I was getting to know a lot of the Mavis faithful, right? Like, it was cool. The ride down was rough, right? And I mean, you know, I'm not here to be a fanboy. I'm not here to tell you the sky is blue when it's black. As moving averages are lost, bad things happen. We lost the 8, we dropped to the 20. We lost the 20, we dropped to the 50. We lost the 50, we dropped to the 100. We lost the 100, we dropped to the 200. Once we lost the 200, we went from $3 basically down to just like that's a rough 33% loss, not even talking about any of the, like, once we lost the last of the moving averages, right? Like, I'm telling you, break them and fly, it knows how to do it. Lose them and die, it knows how to do it, right? And where are we at now? We're starting to reclimb, right? Got over the 8, got over the 20, got to the 50, couldn't confirm, got over the 8, got over the 20, and we're now making moves. We are, right? These are the next 2 and last 2 lines, and what I actually really like is the spacing between these is not as tight as I thought it was going to be, okay? You often hear me say, and I think there were, I don't know if there was, whatever. Look, it's easier okay, let me start it like this. Best thing you can have is when the space of the lines is this big. Because, yeah, if you can get over the 50 and the 100's all the way up there, I mean, you basically can do it in one good candle, especially if there's a whole mess of red, right? When you break the 8, go to the 20, break the 20, go to the 50, break the 50, go to the 100, it's easier to do that than have the, like, if we were battling it right here, I felt I said that so poorly, and I apologize, but if we were battling those 2 lines at this point, I would be wildly skeptical, because 2 lines together is really hard, especially when they are the 2 hardest and biggest lines of them all, right? The fact that they're starting to space out a little bit makes me believe that 1 or 2 days can be a battle with the 100, and then a couple days after can be a battle with the 200. It's not like we literally have to go bad guy to bad guy immediately, right? Like, the stock can attack the 100, can calm down a little bit, can take off again. You know what I mean? And I think that's a good thing as long as the spacings between here go. But so far, what I do like is, I mean, you can see it over these last 2 weeks, right? We get over the 50. We actually do get over it, but you know I don't care about a single day. You got to confirm, and it actually gaps up super high and then obviously fake out down here, right? As opposed to this where we break it and confirm, right? Gives us a couple more days up after. I'm a little surprised to see that it didn't actually go all the way up to the 100 moving average. I do have this line here, but I mean, I'm seeing nothing more than a sea of red. So, and I don't think, oh, there is past history back here. Oh, I did not know that. I thought it was actually, oh, okay, there's a lot of history on that line. You also have a little bit of the bottom there, a little bit of bottom there, peak here. Okay. That 249 is a really strong line, actually. Oh, interesting. And I think that makes sense why we have so many. Again, if you didn't see it, if I did that too fast, look, I thought it was just this and this, right? But you can see that. I mean, there's action here. There's a decent horizontal there. There's actually a baby wick there. Hold on. It's this line right here, right? There's a peak right there. There's a peak right there. I mean, we're going all the way back to like 2020 on this line as well, right? So this line, nope, this line right here, that's the last of the history. But yeah, I mean, since, where is this? Since July of 2020, for 3 years, that's been an interesting line right there. It's actually saved us a couple times. We held it pretty well right here. Like, yeah, that's an important 249. Maybe what'll happen, because again, you know I don't know the math on these lines, right? But this 100 is now starting to come down a little steep. All right, that's kind of the slope. So here are my thoughts. I think by roughly the end of the month, because right now I'm clicking, you could see in the box over there, this is calling out the 30th of November, basically 10 days from now. I think by the end of November, we will see this either, how do I say, okay, let me give you this is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if breaking this 240 3-year resistance line will actually let us kind of almost slingshot over this. Like I almost want to say that this line is a little more important than this line. You rarely hear me say one of my white drawn manual lines is more important than a moving average, but yeah, I think this is a really important line. I don't know if we're just going to kind of keep battling it until the 100 kind of works its way down. And hey, lo and behold, maybe sometime middle of next week we'll get over it, right? It's a short trading week as well, right? But I actually think that this 249 line is a little more important than the 100 moving average. And it's a little weird for me to say that, but yeah, I think this is an important line, all right? There's a couple things I like down here that I want to talk about really quickly. I like that the MACD's in the positive. I like that the RSI is super healthy still. This is still below 70, and I know during the run we were having crazy RSI numbers. So this thing knows how to go up if it wants to go up, right? And you know what I like? I remember talking about the volume being an issue during the drop. We were like just nowhere near that 50 moving average, right? Because obviously we had some crazy volume spikes as we were going up. Those have kind of offset. The 50 moving average is kind of balancing out. It's now a little easier to trade at or above that line. And again, you hear me say it all the time, volume is king. So good reset of volume is awesome, all right? Break that 249, and I think it might be a free ride over the 100. The money line here is the 200 moving average. Let me see where that 315 is, because it's the bottom of that. There's some stuff that happens at 315, I guess. This one. I almost want to move that 315 down to this. I think it's kind of silly to do it. But look, if we can get over the 200 moving average, this thing runs. This thing goes green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 green. It could be a real fast ride from basically 3 to 4. That's a really quick 33% move. And then break this little 4 line, and man, I mean, it could be real nice here. So more than anything, good things happen over the 8 and the 20. Bad things happen under the 8 and the 20. Good things happen up, bad things happen down. It seems like the 8 wants to go up, the 20 wants to go up, the 50's even kind of starting to flatten out, and hopefully we'll start curving up, right? Like, those are positive signs. The weekly shouldn't be there just yet, but hey, we're now making way better progress on this 8 moving average, right? We were literally just struggling with it. We're now getting over it, and look, this 249 is seemingly lining up with nearly that 250, the 20 moving average. The 50 moving average is right here. I'm glad I kept that 315 because I think that 100's about to kind of line up there. I think the 315 will be an interesting line as well. But hey, overall, it no longer seems like we're at the mercy of the moving averages going down. It now seems like we're trying to go up. If we can get over the 200 moving average, this stock will do some beautiful things, all right? So hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, let's come into Soundhound. So I was not going to cover Soundhound today, all right? Because I actually really thought that the video I put over the weekend was going to be good enough for, let it go to today. Today's candle was crazy, all right? And the main thing was I saw, let me just click, the high of the day was 241. The line I drew was 240. I thought that this thing was going to do exactly what I wanted it to do over the weekend. I laughed as I saw the outcome of it, okay? Then I was a little surprised to see it lose that 240 and clearly close where it did today. Look, by no means is this a bad candle, right? I think it's a very much of a disappointing candle, especially the volume, and we'll get to that. But you know what really caught me was Palantir goes up 4%. Nvidia, I believe, went up I know that's not a big number. That's a really big candle, all right? Again, Palantir, you've heard me say it, if Palantir goes up like 4 or 5%, I expect Soundhound to go up double that, maybe like 10, 12, 14%, right? Where was NASDAQ? that's a good strong NASDAQ candle, right? I'm surprised. I'm surprised that we couldn't hold that 240 expectation I had. Because, right, what was my expectation, all right? What I wanted to do was get over the 100 moving average, this blue line. I then wanted to cool off and come back to it before we flew back up and attack this, right? I basically wanted to do that, then that, then that, right? Boom, boom, boom. What I don't want to do, and really it's because, look, it's been a struggle with this 100 moving average. I mean, since we lost it, we've actually never even touched it. And till today, we still have not been able to close over that 100 moving average, right? So that for sure is not a guarantee line that we're going to break, all right? And hey, I don't know if you watched the MVIS stock before, but look, I like the spacing between the two lines. There is room to attack the 100, cool down on the 100, and then bounce. That's essentially what I was saying before, and a lot of it is because of this spacing right here, right? The problem is, look, if we don't get over that 100, the 100's still coming down. There's nothing that's making me think it's going to magically curve up, right? Like, you can see how long the 50 keeps going down before it's kind of just starting to level out, right? Like, 8 goes up first, then the 20 starts to follow. After the 20's been up for a bit, then you'll see the 50, right? So we're still a long ways ago before this thing curves upwards, right? We need to get over this because, yeah, obviously tomorrow it's going to, like, I don't know the math here, right? But that's a downward slope. This thing's going down tomorrow probably to about here, right? We got to open and close over 230 tomorrow. That's the goal, all right? I don't want to come down to 214. I think we're either going to close at like 234 tomorrow or we're going to come down to 213, okay? I don't think we'll go below the 8 moving average. I think we'll hold the 8 moving average. I think the main reason I made this video was we hit that 240 line. We hit the 240 line as Palantir was looking good, as NVIDIA was looking good. How did SoundHound not hold it? I am actually not too sure. MACD still positive. Look, I'm okay in some ways. Just like this is an RSI place we've been before. We've like held this a little bit before. Maybe we're kind of trying to establish our like RSI like sustainability. I don't know if I'm like stretching a little bit, right? But yeah, I think the entire story still is the 100 moving average. Today was a little bit of an interesting wick fake out. I'm glad we didn't actually close too much lower today, but yeah, I think it's very much we drop down here or we take the 100 tomorrow, all right? If for whatever reason we lose that 216 I mentioned or 213, obviously over the $2 line is what I got. Maybe the 8 moving average would stop us around 208, but yeah, interesting candle today, all right? So, hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, as always, thank you.